Disclaimer. This content is only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. It all started on a rainy Friday evening. I was halfway through a boring movie when my phone buzzed. It was her. "Hey, you busy?" That's all the message said. But it said everything at the same time. We'd known each other for a while, talked now and then, but this felt different. There was something about her tone, playful, maybe a little daring. Before I could overthink it, she dropped the next line. "Come over. I just got out of the shower." I hesitated. I mean, what do you say to something like that? My heart was racing, palms sweaty, and honestly, I didn't even know what I was walking into. But curiosity got the better of me. I grabbed my keys and headed out. The streets were still wet from the rain, city lights reflecting off the puddles like a movie scene. I had no idea what was waiting on the other side of that door. When I got to her apartment, I knocked once. The door creaked open almost instantly, and there she was standing there wrapped in nothing but a towel. Her hair was damp, sticking slightly to her collarbone, and she gave me this half smile, the kind that made it hard to tell whether she was teasing me or just being herself. She didn't say anything right away, just stepped aside and nodded for me to come in. The air inside was warm, thick with the scent of lavender and something sweet I couldn't place. Music was playing low in the background, something soft, acoustic. I couldn't help but wonder, was this spontaneous? Or had she planned this all along? I sat on the edge of the couch while she disappeared into the hallway. "Make yourself comfortable," she called out, her voice trailing off just enough to leave me guessing. I glanced around her place. Candles lit, a glass of wine already poured, and a second one waiting like she knew I'd come. It felt like a scene from a romance movie, but this was real. And happening now. And then I heard her voice again, a little closer this time. "So, what do you think I invited you over for? Now I know what you're thinking. Where is this going? Was this just a friendly visit? Or was there something more under the surface? Let's just say what happened next changed everything. But I'll leave that for the next part. Before we continue, what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have gone over? Let me know in the comments below, and hit that poll to tell me what you think she really wanted. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss part 2. Because trust me, it only gets deeper from here. ChatGPT said. She came back into the room, still in that towel, holding 2 glasses of wine. Her eyes locked onto mine, and there was this pause, like she was reading me, trying to figure out if I was nervous or excited. Truth is, I was both. She handed me the glass, then sat across from me, curling her legs up under the towel, like it was the most natural thing in the world. There was something calm about her, but underneath it something else. I couldn't put my finger on it. "So," she said softly, "you didn't expect this, did you?" I smiled and shook my head. "Not even close. We'd met months ago through a friend. Nothing serious, just casual conversations, flirty DMs, the usual. But there was always something different about her. She didn't just say things to say them. She listened, paid attention, picked up on details most people missed. And now here we were alone late at night, the rain still tapping lightly on the windows. Everything about this moment felt like it was pulled out of a slow-burn romantic drama. She started talking about her day, but there was this edge in her voice, like she was avoiding something. I noticed her glance toward the hallway a couple of times, like she was expecting someone or something. "You okay?" I asked, trying to keep my tone light. She paused, then nodded, but it didn't feel convincing. "I just don't usually do this," she said quietly. "Invite someone over like this, especially not like this." She tugged at the edge of the towel, just enough to tighten it. I didn't push. I just nodded, giving her space. But in the back of my mind, questions were stacking up. Why now? Why tonight? Was she lonely? Or was there something else going on? The wine loosened the silence a bit, and soon we were talking like old friends. She laughed at my bad jokes. I asked her about the half-read books on her shelf, and she told me stories from her childhood that somehow made the space between us feel smaller. But even then, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was a second layer to everything she was saying. Like she was trying to keep my attention from drifting to the things she wasn't saying. She got up at one point to grab something from the kitchen, and for just a second I saw it. A phone screen lighting up in the other room. A message. She didn't seem to notice that I noticed, but it was enough to put me on edge. Was someone else coming? Was she hiding something? I didn't want to assume the worst, but the vibe had shifted just a little. Enough to keep my thoughts racing. What would you do if someone you thought you knew suddenly felt like a stranger? Or maybe had been hiding a part of themselves all along? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know what you'd be thinking in this moment. And make sure to stick around for part 3, because what happened next I never saw coming. She came back from the kitchen with a small plate of snacks, like nothing had happened, like I hadn't just seen that phone light up. I wanted to ask about it, but something held me back. Maybe it was the way she smiled, soft, calm, like she was trying to keep everything normal. Or maybe I didn't ask because I wasn't ready for the answer. Either way, I played along. She sat down beside me this time, a little closer than before, and handed me the plate. As the music played low and the candles flickered, we talked more. About things that didn't seem important on the surface. Favorite movies. Places we'd traveled. The kind of random, cozy conversation that fills the silence when two people are dancing around something bigger. But beneath all that, I couldn't stop wondering. Was she being real with me? Or was I just part of a plan I didn't understand yet? She asked me a strange question out of nowhere. Do you believe people can hide who they really are for a long time? I didn't answer right away. I just looked at her. Her eyes didn't blink. It was like she wasn't asking about people in general, she was asking about herself. I said, yeah, I think sometimes people don't even realize they're hiding. She nodded, almost like she was relieved. That's when the second phone buzzed. Not mine, not hers, at least not the one she'd been using. The sound came from the bedroom. She froze. Just for a second, but I saw it. I'll be right back, she said quickly, standing up a little too fast. She walked down the hall and shut the door behind her. I sat there staring at my glass, the music still playing, but everything else felt too quiet. Was someone else involved? Was I walking into something more complicated than I thought? I didn't want to be that guy who overthinks everything, but the signs were adding up, and none of them made sense yet. What do you think? Is she hiding something? Or am I just getting in my own head? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you had been sitting there in my place, would you have followed her into that room? Or waited to see what happened next? A few minutes passed, but she didn't come back. I stared down the hallway, the door still shut, the quiet stretching longer than it should have. The music had faded into the background by now, replaced by the hum of my thoughts. I tried to stay calm, but something in my gut told me this night was taking a turn I hadn't prepared for. I stood up slowly, debating whether to knock, to call her name, or just leave and forget any of this happened. But then the door creaked open. She stepped out, not looking at me, her face a little paler, her towel clutched tighter. She avoided eye contact, walked straight past me, and poured herself another glass of wine with a hand that was just slightly shaking. Everything okay? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She nodded too quickly. Yeah, just a little overwhelmed, that's all. I didn't buy it. The phone call, the locked door, the strange question about secrets. It all felt like pieces of something I wasn't seeing clearly yet. Are you sure you're alone here? I asked quietly. Her eyes finally met mine, and for a split second there was something in them, fear maybe, or guilt. She looked away just as fast. Of course I am, she said, but it didn't sound convincing. I sat back down, but I couldn't relax. Every small sound, the creak of the floor, the wind hitting the windows, had my nerves on edge. I noticed her glancing at the hallway again, this time with a kind of hesitation, like she was waiting for something to happen. Or someone. Then came a sound I couldn't ignore. A quiet thump from the bedroom. Not loud, but enough. I looked at her. She froze. Neither of us said anything. The silence was louder than any argument. She opened her mouth like she was about to explain, but stopped herself. What was that? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She didn't answer. Now I had a choice. Stand up and go find out myself, or stay here and wait for whatever was coming. And the truth is, I still wasn't sure if I was part of her plan, or just in the wrong place at the wrong time. What do you think is behind that door? Is it someone else? Or something bigger? Drop your theories in the comments and don't miss what's coming next, because whatever it is, the truth is about to come out. The sound came again, louder this time. Not just a thump, but something sliding. My heart was beating hard in my chest now. I stood up slowly, my eyes still locked on her. She looked like she wanted to stop me but couldn't find the words. Tell me what's going on, I said, trying to stay calm. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Instead, she just whispered, "Don't go in there." That was it, that was the twist. The line that changed everything. Because up until then I'd been unsure, nervous, curious even. But now I was officially on edge. "Why not?" I asked, and this time she looked panicked. "Please just trust me," she said, her voice cracking slightly. "It's not what you think, but it's not what you're ready for either." What does that even mean? I walked toward the hallway, slow and cautious, each step feeling heavier than the last. As I reached the door, I saw it was just slightly ajar. I paused, hand on the doorknob, and looked back. She was standing behind me now, not saying a word, just watching, scared. That's when my phone vibrated in my pocket. A message. From her. Except, it wasn't from the number she had been texting me from all day. It was another number. Same name. Same profile picture. The message read, "Don't trust her. Get out." My fingers went numb. I looked at her again and she saw the screen. That's when something in her face shifted. Not panic anymore, but something colder. Controlled. Like the part of her I'd been seeing all night was only half the story. Maybe less. The silence between us was now thick with tension. That door was still cracked open, and I had no idea what was behind it. But more than that, I no longer knew who she really was. Was I just a guest in her game? Or had I walked into something way over my head? What would you do right now if you were me? Open the door and face what's inside, or walk out and never look back? Let me know in the comments. Your choice might just be the difference between truth and regret. I took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The room was dark, except for a dim lamp on the far side, casting long shadows across the floor. I stepped in slowly, every nerve in my body on high alert. My eyes scanned the space. The bed was neatly made, nothing out of place. But then I saw it. A second phone on the nightstand, screen still lit from the message. And next to it a photo. Of me. Not just any photo. A picture taken recently, one I didn't even know existed. I stared at it, confused, my heart pounding louder than ever. Before I could react, I heard the door click behind me. She was standing there. No longer nervous, no longer shaken. Just calm. Too calm. "I didn't want you to find out like this," she said softly. "But I knew the moment you got that message, everything would change." "What is this?" I asked, holding up the photo. "Why do you have this? And who sent me that message?" She looked at the floor for a second, then back at me. "It was never supposed to go this far. I was only supposed to watch you. Keep tabs. Someone hired me. Said you knew something you shouldn't. I didn't ask questions, I just agreed." My mind was spinning. "Hired you? For what? What did I do?" She shook her head. "That's the thing. I don't think you did anything. I think they lied to me. And now I don't know who to believe." The room felt like it was closing in on me. Every memory of our conversations, the way she looked at me, the way she set this whole night up. It all took on a new meaning. "So what now?" I asked. "I was going to walk away tonight," she said. "Leave, disappear. But then you came. And part of me didn't want to lie anymore." Before I could respond, there was a knock at the front door. Loud. Firm. 3 times. We both froze. She whispered, "That's not part of the plan." I looked at her, then back at the hallway. The real danger hadn't even started yet. What would you do now? Open that door or escape out the back? Let me know in the comments. One wrong move could change everything. I stood frozen in place, the knock echoing through the quiet apartment. She didn't move either. Just stared at the door, her face suddenly full of worry again. I took a step toward the hallway, but she reached out and grabbed my arm. "Don't open it. Please," she said. Her voice wasn't demanding now, it was real. Scared. Honest. We stayed like that for a few seconds, the moment stretching too long. Then just like that, the knocking stopped. No voice. No movement. Just silence. I waited, breath held, expecting another bang, but it never came. After a few minutes, I slowly walked to the front door and looked through the peephole. Empty hallway. Whoever it was, they were gone. Or waiting. I locked the door and turned back around. She was sitting on the couch now, staring at the floor like she was carrying the weight of the whole night. She told me everything. The people who paid her. The reason she took the job. How she started doubting the whole thing after spending real time with me. The story was messy, full of things that didn't make total sense, but somehow it felt honest. She wasn't some villain or seductress, just someone caught in something she couldn't control. I didn't have all the answers. Maybe I never would. But one thing was clear. She had a choice tonight, and so did I. I left that night just before sunrise. The streets were still wet from the rain. I didn't look back. I needed space, time, and most of all clarity. She never texted again. And that second phone, I tossed it in the river the next day. Whatever this was, I closed the door on it for good. But sometimes late at night, I still think about that moment. Her standing there in just a towel. The first knock on the door, the look in her eyes. The truth is, some stories don't end with all the answers. Some just leave you with a lesson. What do you think? Should I have stayed? Do you think she really wanted to change? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want a sequel, you know what to do.